Hey everybody, as promised, I'm here to do a tag video for you all. This is actually a different tag than I was planning on doing. I was planning on doing a tag that I was actually tagged to do, but I was just browsing on YouTube, looking at my usual booktube people, and came across this lovely, lovely tag. Before we get started, I just want to apologize about the lighting. It's actually storming outside. Even though there's sun. That's just the weird weather in Florida where it will be pouring down rain but the sun will still be out. That's what's going on here. So I'm trying to get the best angle of sunlight, but it's still kind of cloudy, so it's not quite there. So I apologize in advance for that. So yes, we have that. On with the tag. This is called the Legend of Korra book tag, and it was created by Turtle Sympathy. I will leave a link to the original tag down below. He didn't tag anyone in particular. He just said whoever loves Legend of Korra or The Last Airbender to please do the tag. So yes, that is like my favorite show in the world. Well, Legend of Korra I think will never live up to the epicness of The Last Airbender, but I still love it just the same, and so I am doing this tag. There are 3 parts to this tag. Each part has several questions or several things that you must correlate to a book with, and the first part is nations. So there are 4 nations in this world, the first one being air nomads, and with that they want you to find a book about flying. For a book about flying, I chose Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Mayer. Not particularly Cinder, there wasn't a whole lot of flying, but in both Scarlet and Crest they were mostly in space, and so I wanted to say that. Plus the Lunar Chronicles is one of my favorite series right now, and I had to mention it in this tag at some point. Again, not particularly this first book, but the rest of the series so far had a lot of them going to space, and so they are flying in their spaceships, obviously. So we have that one. The second nation in this world is the Water Tribe, and they want you to find a book set in winter. The reason being, the 2 water tribes are both located in the South and North Pole, which it is always winter in the poles, so they want you to find a book set in the winter time. I couldn't find a book that was completely set during winter time that I've read before, so instead I chose The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons, because there is a point in this book where it is winter time, and it is probably the most heart-wrenching scene in this book. If you don't know what this book is about, it is a historical romance set in Russia during World War II, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on as far as starvation and illness and all of this going on during the winter time, where it just makes everything worse because you're freezing to death. That whole winter scene in this book was a complete and utter feels meltdown. It was crazy. The third nation is the Earth Kingdom, and they want you to find a book set in a big city. I decided to choose a manga that I've never mentioned on my channel before, and that is Beauty Pop by Kyoko Arai. This is set in Tokyo, which is Japan's largest city, and it's a really cute romance story that, like I said, I've never mentioned on my channel before, but I absolutely love this series. Perhaps I'll be rereading this soon, and that's why I kind of brought it up. And the fourth nation is the Fire Nation, and they want you to find a book with colonialism or a book involving cool inventions. So I decided to go with a book that involves cool inventions, and for that one I chose Fire and Flood by Victoria Scott. I thought this book was okay. I am still interested in reading the rest of the series, but one of my favorite parts of this are the animal companions in this, and they do have creators, so technically they are biological inventions, so they're really cool, kind of like Pokemon or Digimon, sort of. I actually think they're more like Digimon than Pokemon, but maybe people don't really realize the differences, but that just shows how dorky I am, because I can argue the differences between Digimon and Pokemon. Bridget, you're a dork. The second part of this tag is called Seasons, which will go over the 4 seasons of Legend of Korra. The 4th one was recently announced, I guess. I actually have not finished watching the 3rd season. So the second part is going to have the title of each season, and then there's going to be a question that goes with each title. So the first season of Legend of Korra was called Air, and they want you to find a book that got you interested in reading more of an author or series. And for that, I chose The Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor. After reading this trilogy, I was just amazed by Laini Taylor's writing style, the epicness of this story. She immediately went on to my automatic buy list, and I've even picked up Dream Dark by her, which I believe is a duology that she did before this trilogy. I'm not too sure, but I do really want to get to reading this very soon because, again, like I said, I was absolutely blown away by her writing style, and her storytelling is amazing. And I will pick up anything that she writes, and I cannot wait to see what she comes up with next after this trilogy, because I don't know how she could top it. It was amazing. The second season is called Spirit, and they want you to find a book about ghosts, spirits, or apparitions. And for that, I chose the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. The story doesn't really center around the spirits or ghosts, but anyone who's familiar with either the books or the movies knows that ghosts and spirits are very prominent in the Hogwarts school. They're all over the place. Not only that, but they're very prominent in Harry's life as well, and how they affect him, especially the ghosts of his parents, and how that affects his life, especially in the end. And I think it's just really appropriate to mention this as my spirits book because that's just a very big part in this world. So, yes. The third season was called Change. Sorry, that's the thunder. Did you see this? The thunder and the lightning, but the sunlight is out? Florida. The third season is called Change, and they want you to find a book that had surprising twists in it. And for that, I chose Rebel Spring by Morgan Rhodes. I chose specifically book 2 because, honestly, most of book 1, Fallen Kingdoms, was sort of predictable to me, but towards the end, it had a really shocking ending to it, and that got me to read book 2. But book 2 was just even better than book 1, and every page had me turning like really fast, like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And it had me guessing all the way till the end, and I cannot wait to read the third book. And the fourth season will be called Balance. So they want you to find a book that you are excited to read in 2015 because that's when the fourth season comes out in 2015. There are many books that I'm excited to read in 2015, but I would have to say one of the ones I'm most excited to read is Winter by Marissa Mayer, which is the fourth and final book in the Lunar Chronicles. I believe it comes out in February if I'm correct, and the story has been so epic to see it all end. I don't know, I'm excited at the same time that I'm sad, but I still can't wait to read it. And the third and final part in this tag is called Favorites, and basically what they want you to do is choose 1 to 2 characters in the Legend of Korra series and find a book that kind of correlates to that character. If we were to choose Legend of Korra characters, I would have to say my 2 favorite characters are probably Bolin and Jinora. The original creator of the tag actually also chose Jinora, and his correlation that he came up with is to find a book that has a child prodigy in it, and so I chose The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan because we have our main character, Percy Jackson, who is basically a child prodigy because he didn't know that he was the son of Poseidon. When he finds out at the age of, I think he's 12 in this, it's been a while since I've read this series, and he finds out that he is a demigod, so ensues an epic story of amazingness, and it's such a good series, and definitely Percy is a child prodigy. And then for Bolin, who's basically the comedic relief, I chose to pick a book that has a funny or humorous character in it, and for that one I chose Vash the Stampede from Trigun by Yasuhiro Naito? I actually haven't read the manga yet, but I have seen the anime series. The correlation between them is very similar. Bolin is very funny. Like I said, he's the comedic relief in the series. He's silly. He sometimes doesn't take things seriously, and that is just Vash's whole personality. He takes almost nothing serious, and that's just what makes him such an amazing character. At the same time, both characters know when to stop the jokes and stop the silliness and take things seriously, and that's why I've decided to pick Vash the Stampede as my book that's like Bolin. So, yes. Honestly, though, my favorite characters of all will always be from The Last Airbender, and those are Toph and Sokka, which Bolin is kind of Sokka's replacement, and Jinora and Toph aren't really alike at all, but I still love Jinora as a character, and cannot wait to see the rest of Season 3, and then finally be excited for Season 4, which will come out next year. that is the main part of the tag. There actually is a fourth secret part to this tag, and that is to show your best bending ability. So here is mine. I hope you all enjoyed this tag, and as always, I don't typically come up with names of people that I want to tag immediately, so I will leave all of the people I'm tagging down below. So look to see if your name's down there, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!